the elected officials that are here with us this morning, Mayor Freddie O'Connell, Mayor Angie Henderson, Council Member Aaron Evans, and Brenda Gadd, Jenny Welsh, Jordan Huffman, and David Bennett, District Attorney General Glenn Funk, as well as State Senator Mark Pody, and Acting U.S. Attorney General Rob McGuire. So I'm so sorry if I missed anyone. Hopefully the next speaker will come and make up for it, but it's really nice to have you here, so thank you. Great. Good to see you, Heidi Campbell. Thank you for coming. And also thank you to the many survivors that are joining us this morning, because your voice is instrumental in everything that we do, and we wouldn't be where we are without you telling us the direction that we need to go in. This morning we're celebrating two significant milestones. The first is in the past. It was the release of the 2013 Citywide Domestic Violence Safety and Accountability Assessment, which set us on the course for where we are today. And we're also celebrating the milestone of the release of that 10-year progress report from that assessment. So if you could raise your hand if you were a part of that work in 2011 to 2013, assessing how the city can do a better job and how we respond to domestic violence cases. So thank you all. And we've also had an amazing co-chairs in doing the work that we're doing here out of the Family Safety Center, but as well the report that we're releasing today. So if you've been part of that leadership, could you please raise your hand? All right, thank you. Thank you all for being here. I also want to acknowledge the commitment and tenacity of Becky Bullard, who's in my office, and her team, who've worked so hard to ensure that we memorialized our collective success in this work as a city. So thank you for all that hard work to do that. And also I want to, of course, appreciate the entire Office of Family Safety team. I think we have the best team ever, who comes together always to make sure every day that the work we do at the Family Safety Center and events like this shine. So thank you to all of them. So this 10-year progress report right here that we're releasing today tells a story of how incredibly unique and special what we have done in Nashville really is. I'm often asked by other cities across the country how we've done this, how we've done all of this, including how we work together so well, and how we've accomplished so much so quickly. I mean, 10 years seems like a long time, but in this field, how hard it is to get change accomplished, it's actually a really short time. And so my short answer says it all. It's great leaders and great people. That's how we've done it here in Nashville. That's how we've become the national model. My longer answer usually goes is Nashville had a spark. And that spark turned into a flame, and that flame became a fire. And that fire is what changed everything for Nashville. That spark in 2011 was when Gene Crow and Judge Smith sounded the alarm to then Mayor Carl Dean that our city's response to domestic violence victims was actually putting them at greater risk. That spark turned into a flame when Nashville launched its citywide safety and accountability assessment that same year, when over 100 practitioners and survivors came together to identify all the ways that we could do better for victims of domestic violence. And that was 911, patrol response, detective response, getting an order of protection, what happens when you go to court, prosecution, probation, fatality review. So that flame of those 2 years of work is what became the fire, which is the report we released over 10 years ago, which was a case for change in how we handled these cases. And when you put a fire under complacency, people move and things change really fast. And that's what happened here. And we ended up in a movement together. And if you're standing here thinking, wait, I didn't know I was part of a movement, I didn't sign up for that, read this progress report, and you will see your own part in that movement and what you did to help make everything possible. I wish I could stand up here for an hour and list all the things that make me really proud of what's in this report. But, I'm the maker of my own destiny. I gave myself 2 minutes to speak. So let me close by saying what is deepest in my heart, that I'm so proud to live in a city and work for a city alongside its leaders and so many dedicated people I work with every day that have chosen a profession and to do their work in a way that cares about victims and to invest themselves and their resources towards what victims need, because they need help healing their trauma, they need help recovering from what has happened, and reaching a new place of true safety, not temporary safety. So thank you. I'm going to invite Mayor Freddie O'Connell to come up and speak next. Is that correct? Nope. I'm going to invite Vice Mayor Angie Henderson. I wrote the agenda too, so it's just so sad, who has just been instrumental through so many years in how we do our work in Nashville, but also some really recent initiatives that are making a lot of change in the area of offender accountability, which is a hard thing to hit on correctly. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you, Diane, so much. You and your team and the survivors and stakeholders here today are an inspiration. And it is my honor and pleasure as president of the Metro Council, Nashville's legislative branch of government, to champion and share the good work and accomplishments made possible by good people and good policy. Director Lance has worked tenaciously, as most of you here know, with a growing team over the last 10 to 15 years to make Nashville safer for women and families. As a council member for 8 years, myself as vice mayor, I know the council values this work greatly and is persistently asking, what more can we do? Where are the gaps? What is the Office of Family Safety seeing? What's changing and what is needed? What can the council do? As I often say, listening is leading. And I want to acknowledge Councilwoman Erin Evans, Chair of Council's Public Health and Safety Committee. Erin, for listening closely, asking questions, holding those through lines across the years, organizing her committee and the council to learn about domestic violence and make sure that needed positions in the courts for bond supervision for high-risk cases and administrative support positions were funded in our last budget cycle. I want to also acknowledge Councilwoman Brenda Gadd. Brenda, where are you? There she is. For elevating council's awareness about gun dispossession and securing a needed position to help close a dangerous gap to help make sure violent offenders have indeed dispossessed their deadly firearms. Council works in concert with Metro departments, community stakeholders, and the mayor's office to make sure policies and budgeted positions are meeting Nashville's needs. We are fortunate that for the last 2 years, we've had a former council colleague who also prioritizes this collaboration and communication and making sure that the data our departments collect in important reports like today's do make a difference in the work we all do for Nashville. We appreciate his diligence and compassion, and it is my pleasure to introduce Mayor Freddie O'Connell.
Well, good morning, everyone. And thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Thank you for the introduction, but also thank you for your leadership of this historic Metro Council and the recognition of leaders that you have helped elevate as committee chairs and other leaders within the body to do this work. And I will say, I'll echo Diane, it is great to see so many colleagues here for purpose, because safety is a team effort that depends on the work of so many partners moving towards the same goal. And I will say, within our office, and knowing how important Chair Evans's work was. Wally Dietz, our Director of Law, Kristen Wilson, who's our Chief of Operations and Performance, Darren Jernigan, who works on so much of our legislative affairs work at that intersection of state and local. Really appreciate the collaborative effort that has helped advance some of the progress that I hope we all see in taking stock of this moment. And that's on top of Chief Drake's support. With that and our Metro Nashville Police Department and the First Responder Network, though that entire collection of first responders and second responders are working together to serve trauma victims, moving them from crisis to opportunity through the MNPD's Family Intervention Program. That program alone served nearly 1,000 people and conducted 4,649 therapy sessions in 2024. It's a big part of this overall body of work. With General Funk's support, our court-based Family Justice Center helps deliver the dignity and respect that trauma victims deserve. And we might not be here today without key voices from the courtroom bringing their concerns to Mayor Carl Dean 14 years ago. And Gene Crow of Legal Aid, Judge Philip Smith, both have since passed, but their work lives on in so much of what we're going to chronicle today in this report. Then you've heard, with judicial support and Metro Council support, just over the past several months, we've been able to advance several of the items you'll see noted throughout the report as part of noteworthy progress. Thanks to them and to all of you. We couldn't do this without all of you, but I want to say a special thank you to the team and the leader at the core of this effort, driving dignity and respect for victims during their most vulnerable moments. I hope you will all help me with a round of applause for Director Diane Lance and the Office of Family Safety. And I'll say, in taking stock of this moment, I hate that I know personally so many victims of interpersonal violence, and that is why in the way that this becomes personal and so much of how we advance public policy becomes about the community, this body of work is so important because elevating the voices of victims is critical. And I think to work that Diane has acknowledged today, it's not always easy to get excited about an assessment, but it is that catalyst. It's that spark that builds into a flame that started back in 2013. Diane was appointed by Mayor Carl Dean at that time to lead an assessment of the city's response to domestic violence from 911 calls through the court process. And if you look at this report, even the structure of the way it's laid out is very careful and thoughtful, not just with the data, but the way that it takes you through the process of what people experience. Diane led a 2-year review that exposed barriers to victim safety and offender accountability, documented in the release of the first Domestic Violence Safety and Accountability Assessment Report in 2013. It led to the launch of the first court-based family justice center in the country with the Gene Crow Advocacy Center, and many of us were gathered together just a few months ago to celebrate the 10th anniversary of that program last September. It led to our first governmental department focused on victims of interpersonal violence, the Office of Family Safety, and I will say one of the things that is going to be a key component of this that our colleagues on the Metro Council will be addressing soon is we are finally going to codify this office in the Metro Code of Laws. So this is a big deal too. And it led to the opening of this facility, one of the largest family justice centers in the world. The first assessment report has been an active working document ever since it was released over a decade ago. It's guided efforts at improving law enforcement practices and court procedures to increase safety for victims and accountability for offenders. But today is that 10-year mark, reflecting on the progress we've made, validating the collaboration that's made it possible, and acknowledging the work yet to do. It helps explain why Nashville is becoming a model for other cities in victim-centered care. You'll see the major drivers of the progress broken out for each of the 5 stages of criminal cases identified in the 2013 report, from initial response to the courtroom and beyond, You'll see those phases of offender is charged, time between arrest and court, courts and post-court work. The best summary for all of these drivers is on page 3 of the report, which shows the key recommendations from 2013 and where we've made the most progress. And we're meeting most of that first report's objectives in some way. We've made great strides on initial response thanks to better risk assessment tools. Our Metro Nashville Police Department uses lethality assessments where officers ask victims 11 questions on scene to determine their risk of being killed by their abuser. The Office of Family Safety Advocates and other community-based service providers use danger assessment. We've invested in better training, and not just for first responders. Metro has mandated recurring DV training for all Metro employees in 2019. OFS provides regular training opportunities for all practitioners. We've also invested in facilities and structure, including 2 family justice centers that provide access to comprehensive services, and our first Office of Family Safety to manage them. And we're continuing to invest in that office and its greatest resource, which is its people. Through this year's operating budget, we're adding 6 new full-time employees to the Office of Family Safety, and I want you to understand why we're doing that and what their work will be. 4 of them are crisis advocates who are the foundation of OFS's work. This is critical as we're seeing big cuts, 34% average statewide, and funding from the Victims of Crime Act. In 2024, OFS Crisis Advocacy Program supported 6,610 individual interpersonal violence clients in almost 16,000 visits. Advocates provided more than 46,000 safety-enhancing services, including orders of protection, safety plans, and danger assessments, all by the thousands. Where federal support is retreating, we're stepping in. We're also adding 2 bond supervisor positions. Without adequate bond supervision and compliance, offenders can continue to abuse or harm their victims. A newly established unit of bond supervisors housed within the General Sessions Court Administrator's Office will be responsible for ensuring compliance with bond conditions with heightened supervision of high-risk intimate partner domestic violence cases. We're also funding the addition of 3 critical resources to support these efforts. As you just heard from the Vice Mayor, one of our top priorities, one that I met with Diane about shortly after taking office, is about the process of gun dispossession. The Vice Mayor and Metro Council have led on this issue as well. There's now a new position funded at the Metro Nashville Police Department, trying to make sure that the people who shouldn't have guns don't have access to guns. 2, we're adding 6 administrative officers to General Sessions Court to ensure that night court has access to criminal background databases as they're considering bond conditions for offenders. 3, we're adding our first nurse practitioner on site thanks to a partnership with our Metro Public Health Department and funding from this year's budget. This will activate the Family Safety Center's medical clinic for its intended purpose and support the forensic documentation of injuries. This is especially important for victims who experience strangulation because their risk of being killed is dramatically higher. So these are all material signs of progress that come directly from the work of advocates, the experiences of victims, the care and compassion of the partners gathered here today, and our office and the Metro Council listening and acting. And I am extremely proud of knowing that this collaboration, this assessment work over 10 years enables us to move forward on key initiatives. So Diane, thank you again to all the partners here. So there is, yeah, you can applaud for that. And I will say, the report does acknowledge challenges, but I do think there are so many things worth celebrating. And then to say there are things that still deserve our attention moving forward to draw our concern. The report also shows where we still need to improve, and you'll find a summary of 5 key goals and recommendations on page 4. We still need to increase staffing and capacity to address increased interpersonal violence caseloads. We still need to require recurring training for practitioners. We need to focus on high-risk prioritization throughout the criminal legal system. We need to reduce court delays and reliance on victim testimony, and we need to increase services for IPV victims and increase IPV awareness. So we've come a long way. There's still more to do. We've been trying to build confidence in the work of local government, and that includes the confidence of victims to come forward. So I think one thing that all of us can do as we depart from today is continue to elevate the resources and services of the Office of Family Safety to make sure that not only do people know about this incredible office, but also that people feel comfortable coming to take part in the responses to being victims. So thanks to all of you and the entire office team for moving us and them in the right direction. And finally, before we break, I wanted to give an update on the new Office of Youth Safety. Our director in the mayor's office, Phyllis Hildreth, has outlined a 3-step process laying a foundation for work ahead. I think when we are delivering youth safety, we're strengthening the overall project of family safety. Her team has completed a first step, which is to engage young people in conversations directly about what makes them feel safe. This office was an idea that came from young people in Nashville. The Metro Council led on establishing funding. We're beginning with their voices. That will be an ongoing conversation. Step 2 is taking inventory of Metro assets and systems that create safety for young people. We're in the middle of that work right now. We're focused on safe spaces and third spaces outside of home and school, so parks, libraries, after school programs, and more. When we have all these spaces mapped out, just like this assessment shows, it's easier to see strengths, holes, and deficiencies. So we'll have more to say about that work going ahead, but thank you to all of you again for coming, to our hosts here with OFS, and now I want to turn it back over to Diane for a special recognition. Thank you so much.
So now that you talked about the Office of Youth Safety, I just want to say, Mayor, how grateful I am that you have started that office. With Phyllis Hildreth, she's wonderful, and certainly the importance of safe, third safe spaces, home, school, and another place to go. And that third safe place is really important if home isn't a safe place. So, so we are fully supportive of what that office will be doing. Thank you. To everyone here, but certainly the elected officials that are here, who have just stood side by side, walking through and making sure we have the resources and investments we need to be successful in our work. I just want to say, I've traveled a lot in this field, and you do not hear elected officials in other parts of this country talk with as much knowledge, care, and compassion about this subject, and speak from the heart. So the fact that we have so many elected officials with such a deep, true understanding of the work we do is a gift to all of us. So I really appreciate that. We want to say thank you to everyone here in this work. We have sun cookies on either side. The sun symbolizes hope in our Family Safety Center logo, and we appreciate the hope that you all give your clients every day and have been doing, for some of you, for decades. We also have a special award for the agencies that were involved with the 2013 assessment and have really continued to work by our side. The award we have called the Catalyst for Change Award. It's really sweet. I'm really excited about it. It is this crystal sunflower, and we have. I know it really catches the light nicely in here. We have a note with each one of those explaining why we picked the symbol of the sunflower for our Catalyst for Change. And I'm looking forward to giving out plenty more of these awards over the years to come as we continue in this work together. So if you are an executive leader of one of the following agencies, you're going to go over to Becky Bullard's table over there for your crystal sunflower. That would be the YWCA, the Mary Parish Center, Agape, Mark and Valerie Wynn, Our Kids Clinic, Legal Aid Society, Voices for Victims, You Have the Power, the Nashville Children's Alliance, General Sessions Court, Trial Courts, Circuit Court Clerk, Criminal Court Clerk, Metro Police Department, District Attorney's Office, the Sheriff's Office, the Department of Emergency Communications, the Department of Children's Services, and of course, through generations of support, the Metro Council and the Mayor's Office. Thank you all for investing in making Nashville as safe a city as it can be for the most vulnerable among us. So now, the media can follow Courtney into the Family Safety Center. I will. See, she's double checking to make sure I'm going to remember what she whispered in my ear a few minutes ago, but I remembered because I wrote it down. So you're going to follow Courtney into the Family Safety Center for to be able to have your time with the mayor. But the mayor is going to join me on the stage for a photograph with everyone involved in the 2013 assessment and the 10-year update. So if everyone who has been a mayor, if you can come stand up front here, or down, actually down there, I think is usually good in the picture. And we'll all gather around the mayor, okay? And obviously,
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.